Alright, this episode we're going to talk about a game called Elder Sign. It's on the variants of Arkham Horror. And my buddy Pablo here, he's going to explain the box opening for you. So, here we go.
Alright, well, Elder Sign, everybody can see that it's based on Cthulhu, the whole Arkham Horror thingy here. And these are the different components. Here you have the entrance. With the entrance you could do, and this is the starting point of the game, and whenever you're on the entrance you could do anything here. You can receive first aid, there's a lost and found that you do with the dice, or you can, as long, when you collect the trophies you can buy whatever souvenir that's on there, and that's the entrance. And then you have your clock. Clock always starts at midnight, goes from midnight to 3 to 6 to 9. It'll always land on those numbers. You'll never use the other numbers. And that's for everybody's turn, so like first turn, second turn, third turn, fourth turn, and then back to midnight, then it's the board's turn. Here you've got your dice.
Wow.
And your monsters. You see the dice have a skull for peril, you have tentacles for terror, a scroll for lore, and you have the magnifying glasses for investigations, and there's 1, 2, and 3.
Okay.
And usually when you roll, you're always rolling those 6. There's different cards that you can get that'll include these, the yellow and the red. And then there's different monsters that come out to the game, and this is the cultist, and I'll explain what these little symbols are later, but you can see the number 1, that's the amount of trophies that it's worth.
Okay.
So like you see that one, yeah, it's just like Arkham. That one's a 2, there's a couple in here that's a 3, there's a 0. But most of these, I'll take out the masks.
No, they're in there too.
Yeah, there's 5 masks altogether. There it is. I'll take these out for now. And this is the dreaded monster cup.
Monster plastic cup.
Just to show you one of these. Where is it? Some of the monsters actually lock the dice. You can see that one has a yellow lock. And when this monster appears, it locks the yellow die, which means you can't use it until that monster is done. So I'll put these in the cup. The dreaded flowery monster cup.
That monster's gone forever.
Alright, I'll put these aside. Here you've got your stamina and sanity. And you can see there's 1s, there's 3s, there's 5s.
Yeah. A lot of 5s.
And these, you have your character
signs.
You have your character markers. You can see they have different.
So it's pretty much Arkham Horror but shrunken down.
Yeah, pretty much it's an express version of Arkham Horror, basically. These are your clue markers, little footprints.
Okay, that's cool looking.
And these are your Elder Signs,
Yeah,
and these are the guys that you need to defeat the monsters, the ancient ones. Alright, these are the little cards. Here you got your common items, which are the green ones, and you see the gun on there.
Yeah.
And there are different ones. You got whiskey, you got a 45 automatic, you got food, there's a 38 revolver. And you can see it has the little dice on there. So you can, throughout the game, you can use the 38 revolver to give you that yellow die.
Okay.
So it'll add to the green dice that you play with. Here's one that's a Tommy gun that adds both the yellow and the red die. And different. They all have like dice on there, and like this one here with the whiskey, instead of using the dice, it says to discard the card instead of losing 1 sanity. So if you're going to take 1 sanity, then you can use the whiskey if you have it instead of taking sanity.
Okay.
So these are your common items. These are your unique items, and you can see that they're red and they have a little sword on them. And it's pretty much the same deal. You see that one has a red die on it. That's an alien statue. This is the king in yellow. There's one that's called the Sword of Glory. That's kind of like the Tommy gun. And of course they have, like, this is the Flute of the Outer Gods. If you discard the Flute of the Outer Gods after rolling to defeat 1 monster. So if you're on an adventure card, you can use that to get rid of the monster that's there.
Okay.
So they have like different abilities there. And these are your different allies. The allies are in brown.
Okay.
And each one of them have like a different, there's Duke the dog. And each one of them have like a different thing that they have. Like this guy here, you can place a stamina token on this card to change a die showing a peril result to a lore result. And if he takes 4, then he gets discarded. So you can do that 4 times with this guy.
Okay.
So it's basically like that. I mean, there's a lot of them that are like that. And then these are your spells. And the spells are purple with the little book on them.
Book, yeah.
And you can see that they have like little squares on them. There are little slots. So what happens is, before you roll and you want to cast Dread Curse of Azathoth, what happens is when you roll, you can lock different dice rolls. So like say you get a peril on your dice rolls, you get a peril and a lore, and you want to lock them, then you put them on the card, and you can use them for anything else that you do in the game. Okay. And the spell doesn't get used until these dice get used. And you'll see that later on in the gameplay. Here's one that's heal. You can heal the investigator's stamina. Here's one bind monster. You can discard to defeat 1 monster, and they're all like that. And then these are the Mythos cards.
Oh, the favorites.
And you can see that they have a clock face just like the clock over there. And
that represents time's running out, right?
Yeah, more or less. And some of them, or all of these, have a title and a subtitle. So this one's called Sudden Terror Amid the Stillness. And this is the immediate effect, and this is the lingering effect. With this card here, you add a Doom token to the Doom track, and a monster appears.
That sounds familiar.
Yeah. And you can see that it has no lingering effects. There are different ones here that, like, stars align to bring forth horrors. When the clock next strikes midnight, a monster appears. Okay. And you're all kind of like similar but different, and it makes the game really interesting. So that's right. These little ones, and then these are the bigger ones. And these are, let me see. All right, I'll show you these first. These are the gate cards.
Oh boy.
Actually, let me show you these first. These are the adventure cards, and you can see that there's kind of like a hedge maze in there, and they're all kind of a brownish color. Yeah. This is an adventure card, and it usually has artwork and a title. Whenever you complete an adventure, you get that many. You get it as a trophy, and that's what it's worth. Okay. You can see that there's a 2.
Different numbers.
Yeah, there's different 2. It's usually 1s and 2s. But these are the tasks that you need to complete that adventure. So your marker goes on that card. Oh. And this is the guided tour. And you roll the dice and you roll the die and you try to get that result. So that's a 2. You can see that's a 2. There are no 4s, but there's like 3s and 1s that you can do, or 2 and 2, whatever, to complete that one.
Just add.
Yeah, you just basically add it, and then there's the lore. Okay. And once you complete that, then you get that card as a trophy. With this particular card here, it has that little arrow,
Yeah.
which means you have to do from the top to the bottom before you can complete it.
Yeah, so you do the whole card.
You have to do, yeah. Now with this one here, it has an empty monster slot. So whenever a monster appears, you just put
The monster there.
the monster there. And you can see that the monster has its own task. And that's what these little things are. These little slots are tasks. You can see this one is 2 peril, 3 investigation. This one's a peril and a terror, and this one's a lure, lure and a peril. Now, down here on the bottom of the card is penalty and reward. If you don't complete the task or the entire adventure, then you get that penalty, which is 1 stamina. If you do complete it, then you get that reward, which is a spell. For these here, you get 2 clues and a common item, or if you don't do it, you take a stamina and a sanity. You have to complete the entire card in order to get
that
the
stuff.
rewards. If you don't, then you suffer the penalties. In order to do the tasks, you can only do 1 at a time for each roll. And you'll see how it goes during the game. So
Alright.
I won't explain too much on those, but they're the adventure cards. The gate cards are pretty much the same. With the gate cards, you can see it looks like a couple of cultists calling up a portal. And again, it's the same thing. Artwork, title. It has the trophy worth, penalties. It's all pretty much the same, except these are the other world cards basically.
Yeah, it's like Arkham had them.
All right, and then you have your investigators, and you can see the investigators looks like all decrepit and whatnot. I mean, they're all pretty much the same. It looks like 2 like bottles and a broken mirror, but on the flip side,
starting out with bad luck already.
on the flip side, it looks like it's a complete thing. So you can see like there's a heart here and a brain here, and that's how much stamina and sanity. And then that's your character and the character's special abilities and their starting items. It's just like Arkham Horror.
Yeah.
And they're pretty much like all the same characters. There you got Mandy.
Yeah, they look
Mandy,
the same.
They're pretty much all the same. The gangster and the student and the professor, and they're all pretty much the same. And then you have has a big elder sign on the top there, and these are your monsters. You have Ithaquah,
Okay.
Azathoth,
Our buddy.
Shibnigaroth, and that guy that I can't really pronounce his name too well.
Nemotep. Nemotep.
Nemotep. Haster. And you see the number in the middle. That's how many elder signs that we need to defeat this ancient
Okay.
before he wakes up. This here is the Doom track.
Okay.
So you have the Doom tokens, which I kind of forgot to show you. But these are the little Doom tokens.
What is that on there?
It looks like a robed figure.
That's what I thought it was, like a
Yeah.
person in a cloak or something.
Yeah.
Alright.
And the Doom tokens go on the Doom tracks, and we have plenty of those to lay down on here. And whenever a Doom token gets on these ones here, that means a monster appears on the board. So 3, 6, 7, right on down the line. If the Doom track is completely filled with the Doom tokens, then the Ancient One appears.
Then we have to fight him.
Then we have to fight him. And just like the regular task cards, or the regular adventure cards, they have tasks as well. And this one has an X on it, an X number of investigation results. And what you need for Haster is, I think it's the number of monsters that are out on the board is that. So if you've got 5 monsters on there, then you need 5 investigations, right?
Yeah, it's a variable.
Right, it's a variable, but they're all different. Like this is Cthulhu. Cthulhu has a terror, a lore, and peril. This is Yig, and he needs 2 perils. I think Yig is like one of the easiest ones to beat.
Yeah.
Yog Sothoth, that's 3 investigations and 2 lures. And once we get to that point, I'll show you how that all works. That's pretty much the game. And then there's this little thingy here that I made that I got that Rodney Smith from Watch It Played inspired me to do. Is pretty much just like it's a picture frame with a felt thing. I took the piece of glass off, and it's basically just a dice board that we play so that you can roll the dice on.
Nice. Yeah, when it's falling off the table.
Yeah, it's not falling off the table and
landing
going all
in the
over the
crack,
place and whatnot.
landing in the crack of the table.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
arguing what side got the correct side.
Exactly.
Very nice.
So that's pretty much the game.
All right. All right. Well, stay tuned for part 2, and we'll get this game underway.